happening? All right, welcome to episode
7.
It's episode 7, you guys. Look at us go.
Can you believe we've been doing this for 7 weeks?
Oh, that's crazy when you say it like that.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying yesterday how time has flown. Like, I don't know where March and April went.
Time
It's
is like this
May.
weird thing right now.
Since February.
Still actually April, Patricia.
I know, but it's April 25th, for heaven's sakes.
I know. It's insane.
What are we talking about today?
Our subject is the ebb and flow of life, right? When life gets us up and how good that feels, and then what happens when we get down, and how does that deter us from our evolution or our growth?
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
ups and downs of a
and also that word activation, I wanted to throw that in there too.
right.
Because it's not just the ebb and flows of life, but the ebb and flows of like being activated.
Yeah.
So, like getting into your magical AF position and what that feels like to actually be there, because it's not 100% being there all the time, which we're finding out.
You know, it really is. There's dips, there's highs, there's lows. It's
It can be very disheartening too, I find, because, for me, and I think a lot of people, it's like you put in all this work and you make all these changes, right? So you've given up smoking marijuana and you give up drinking and you get this clean life and you're exercising, you're getting your sleep and you're learning all the things, and then you're applying all the things and you're doing all the things, and you feel like you should just keep going like this, only just to all of a sudden go woo, right back down. And then you get all the thoughts like, am I good enough? Should I be doing this? Does this resonate with anybody? Does anybody care what I have to say? Am I making sense when I'm speaking? Is this right? Like, all these thoughts keep coming up. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been going through this in the last week, maybe 2 weeks, where it's like, and I don't know if it's the eclipse or the full moon or just for my own personal where I'm at, but I've kind of been doing one of these and I'm like, what the hell is this about? And I mean, it's only just now that I'm starting to come out of it that I'm like, maybe it's a good thing having these triggers. Maybe all these triggers are actually helping me grow, or maybe it's like the chaos before the calm. I know it's normally the other way around of the calm before the storm, but maybe that's it. Or maybe this is the calm and I'm about to go into something really explosive and crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're all like steps to like making decisions, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a step, and then you go up and then you kind of go down, and then you're like, do I want to go forward with this? And then it's somewhere in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, I want to continue that. And then you move up a little bit, right? But I think it's in this like growth period. Like we watch kids do that, right? We watch kids, like they put on a little bit of weight, a little bit of weight, they get a little bit chunky, and then all of a sudden they shoot up. And I think that's what's happening with us. But I feel like this is like kind of like a childbirth thing, is that it's the subject that's not spoken about. Like so many people, the psychics, the mediums, the channelers, they talk about, how great their gift is, but nobody talks about the struggles getting there, or what they feel like day to day, or like the actual human part of their bodies that are, also saying like, you're having a human experience. Like, what about this part of your life? You can't, can you always be magical AF, or like, are you gonna sit down and eat the bag of chips, or have wine with dinner, or do all of these other things that are also like very human, or grounding you or not grounding you, like staying 100% consistent doesn't seem to be where it resonates with most of us, right? Just
I like
that jump.
Yeah, and I like that that's what we're kind of doing with our podcast, is that real behind the scenes look at what it means to be a multidimensional human, right? And I love that that's what we do. We're really transparent about who we are and how we go about what we do. Of course, we keep some juicy nuggets behind a paywall because we want you to hire us, of course. But we're going to give you as much as we can and feel comfortable giving you in this, free, consume it on your own environment that's safe to give you without guidance, right? To do it yourself. And I think it's important. That was one of the things as I was following people and going through my journey, was I was trying to see the nitty gritty behind the scenes so I could really get a tangible, how do I do this for self and what does that look like? And one of the things missing for me that took me on the roller coaster was less about my professional, how that was going to look. And it was my personal thing kept bringing me back, because I had spent so many years in the conditioning of and the pain of self-hate that, okay, I love that there's psychic senses and I can develop them. And I love that I can learn to meditate and I can do that. And so, and I watched The Secret, and okay, I'm going to apply that. And so I was bringing these magical tools and elements into my life, but I was still hating myself. And I was like, why? So there is something really that wrong with me, that I can do these things, but the magic isn't happening, or I'm not some amazing person. Like I really was just a piece of shit under all of that, was kind of what would creep up into my mind, because I thought that I would, take all these things that I was seeing from the people, the gurus and the people who make the film The Secret. And I was like, well, they're up and up and up and up and up. They went from here and now they're up here and they're amazing. And they didn't show me that, I bet, just like us, they had dips along the way, and that it wasn't just 100% perfect all the time. And that part of what makes me amazing are the mistakes and the bad habits and the oopsies that I have going on in my life. And that I don't need to be profound and perfect and amazing to be helpful and have an impact in this world and create something amazing in my life. And that wasn't talked about. And so I love that we're kind of getting into that, and that it is an up and down, and it's a journey. You're human. You are a multidimensional human. You have, just like you have to get good at listening and seeing with your eyeballs and picking up more details and being able to critically think and get better at, physical attributes. The same thing goes with your psychic senses. It's exactly the same. It is just a piece of who you are. No one thing is all that you are. And so in honoring that, once you get to see it kind of from that perspective, oh yeah, of course there's ups and downs. And it's not just suddenly I'm here to enlightenment and, everything is just magic at my fingertips. The magic is a lot more subtle than we sometimes want to give it credit for. I know I wanted to be dazzled. When I first learned about animal communication, I was like, holy fuck, you can talk telepathically to animals? Magic is here. And I just thought it was always fireworks and explosions of excitement.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I like what you're saying here, because the truth is, when you are in your magical self and all the stuff is turned on and you're doing all of the things, everything's energy. So you're starting to pick up everything, whether it's from the animals, whether it's from Mother Earth, whether it's from your family, whether it's from your neighbor, whether it's just the collective, whatever, you become more sensitive to all of that. And so there's this whole piece of needing to learn the discernment between what is yours and what's other things. And so when you're up in this magical place and you're in the spiritual self, sometimes it's downright exhausting, and it can take you out too, right? Like if you're not doing the other stuff. So it's just like you're saying, with your physical body, with your emotional body, with all these things, like you work it out, but there's a level of fatigue with that. And then you hit a plateau, and then you got to up your game, and then you're going to get the fatigue, and then you're going to hit a plateau, and then you got to up, right? So even with like physical, you're walking up a ladder to get there, right? So maybe it's not necessarily a full dip down, because I really truly believe once you're awake, that's it. You're awake. You're not going back. You can't unsee what you see. You can't unlearn what you learn. You can't not know what you know, right? But you almost have to be able to come back in your human, and it's almost a gift to be able to do that and to remember that you are also in this physical world. And the reason we come to this physical world is for the physical experiences of the emotion, of the triggers, of the bullshit, because those moments help us grow in our spiritual self. They help us connect more to our spiritual self, right? So then you can ride up here for a little bit, and then you're gonna have something else come.
And that's how you make the whole controller work. Like if your body is a controller for this game that you're playing, that your soul is playing, right? You got to be in all parts of it and know it.
It's the free will part of it, right? So we have the free will and we make the choices. And I think we're continually have to make the choice that this is the path that we're on. And that whatever is getting thrown in your way is just that trigger to help you grow. And when you start to learn that these are the triggers to help you grow, then you can continue to grow and just realize, oh, this is just whatever. It's just a little roadblock. It's just a little something in my path just to make me stronger. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a hardship. It doesn't necessarily have to last very long. Or if it does, still just acknowledge it and kind of go on. But going back to, there's like eclipse season is what they're calling it. There's also like solar flares that are going on, and those actually physically affect your body. Like people are having like heart palpitations when their solar flares are high. Like people actually will have heart attacks, those kinds of things. But to be on the, on the thumb of it, and to follow the people that you love that are, giving you this genuine information, so that you can say like, man, what is it about today that I'm just not feeling like tip top? And then realize, oh yeah, this is going on in the world. And then as soon as you acknowledge it, you're like, yeah, whether it was a return to sender or whatever, when you acknowledge it and then go, that's what it is, then all of a sudden you're just lighter again.
Yes.
And you can just like move on and do all your magical stuff instead of kind of dwelling it. I like to call it like a disturbance in the force. Something is going on in the world that is like change the emotion of the planet, or solar flares or full moon, whatever it is, like check in. What's the disturbance in the forest? How can I mitigate this feeling? And then go on. And those are all growing experiences. But those are all things that like nobody seems to be talking about.
Yeah.
There
I also love
people out there talking about it for sure. But I don't think, sorry, Pete, I don't think that they're making it an okay thing though. That's the problem, right? Like they might be saying, oh, there's solar flares, there's the Schumann resonance, there's the whatever, but they don't normalize it, and they don't talk about how they've been on this too, and how it has, like, in order to go up and get to that great place, they had to walk through the fire too. There's a reason it's called a Phoenix Rising, right? Like you have to go through the shit to get to the top. You're not often there. I mean, maybe there's the odd magical human who comes down here and they have their shit turned on, ready to go, and away they go. And I mean, those people are our drivers, right? But those are not the norm. And that's what people need to realize. It. Yeah, we gotta.
I think a big thing that evened it out for me, and why I don't feel as like up and down with the whole growth thing as I did a couple of years ago, is, and really in the last 6 months, I've gotten good at this, seeing all the subtleties, just like when we first kind of got on and we're chatting, and I got really excited about the fact that Jennifer was wearing makeup, because I had the intuitive conversation and hit with her earlier on my own, not in the room with her, right, about the fact that she was going to wear makeup. And then I got to enjoy that when I saw her, and I was like, holy fuck, right? I was right. And that's the thing. When I came from a hugely depressed place and a person that was completely turned off, checked out of herself, it took big extremes for me to notice. It took big extremes for me to feel. It took a lot. So when I started playing in the magical realms and really turning on all my psychic senses and understanding what they were, I wanted big things, right? I wanted big magic. So when that wasn't being achieved, just like I had always held myself to some unforeseen silly standard, I was failing and I sucked. And there must be something wrong with me. And it's not this straight uphill to magic. Like, what the hell? But being able to see all the things around me that actually are super fucking magical, because this is the thing, people, everything is energy. It is the subtle whispers. It's all the little pieces that make up the profound things that get created in your life. It isn't the profound thunderbolt, lightning bolt that comes down and zaps you and creates magic. It's a whole bunch of little threads that come together and create a soup that you love, that you're now taking in your life, right? And so being able to see that really was a huge game changer for me in that abuse that I was giving myself for, once again, not being good enough at what I was trying to do.
Yeah. And I think that abuse too is such a programming, right? Like that is something that's just within our society, that it's like, you will never be good enough, or, you know, Jane over here is better at you than this, and Marcy's prettier, and so stronger, and this is this, and boys don't cry. And like, there's this whole paradigm, this whole reality that we've been living through, that people believe that they have to fit in this little, under this little storm cloud, and they can't break free. And it's just now within the last probably 10 plus years that people are starting to be like, hold on a bloody minute. The fact that I'm different is what's great. And the fact that I feel this is what's great. And I can turn this on, and I don't have to wake up and be born magical. I can work that muscle, and I can have this ability, and I can do this stuff. But we do have to remember, again, we are human. You are going to have the human journey and the human experience on top of that. Hence the reason why we call this It's Hard to Human, because sometimes it's fucking hard. Like, it pulls you out of the magic That makes you go, what the hell? Right? And then we have all that programming we can fall back onto, even if it's not something that we're believing on a day-to-day anymore. It's still something that is in the background. So even just having awareness, oh, hold on, I'm having those thoughts of not being good enough. What's that about? That's interesting. Well, destroy and uncreate, because I don't believe that about myself. Now, what can I do to connect again? You know, for me this weekend, when I was having a bit of a low, the thing I had to do was get my hands in my garden. And I was like, okay, to my boys and my husband, let's get outside. Let's work on our garden. Let's get stuff cleaned up and ready. It was a beautiful sunny day, and we took in the vitamin D from the sunshine and the fresh air, and we listened to the birds chirp. And, you know, we're so fortunate that we have that ability to do that and just kind of have that as an algorithm interrupt to be like, okay, we're human, but we can also connect the human with the divine and the amazingness and just really appreciate the present moment of what this is. And it really, really helped to just kind of neutralize all the negative crap that was seeming to circulate not only through me, but my household was just kind of in this space, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting. You know, it also takes you to the thought of like 3D consciousness and what that is, and 5D consciousness and what that is, right? Because a lot of people do say that the earth itself, have you guys heard this, is on also the same Acension app.
Mm-hmm. I have heard that, yeah.
So it is a collective thing as well, right? So I believe we've talked about this probably in some other podcasts, because it is a big heavy hitter of what all this is, right? So 3D consciousness, you can imagine everything is a vibration, okay? So maybe our 1 is nothing, our 2's a big wave like this, our 3's a little bit faster, 4's a little faster, 5's a little faster. And as you go up, it gets higher and faster in your vibration, right? So 3D consciousness is a dense consciousness that typically comes from ego. It can be loud. It can be frenetic. It's often negative. This is where emotions like lack, greed, fear, hate, all these things are kind of constructed under this vibration. Mm-hmm. And our world has lived and has vibrated. The actual globe has been vibrating at this frequency for quite some time now. And that's why a lot of the belief is we have the war, we have the racism, we have the child trafficking, we have the sex worker abuse happening. We have, right? Like all the things that you can imagine as negative things within our world are happening under that 3D consciousness. It's a very limited thought, and it's egoic. It's from your ego. Now the belief is the souls, the people, us, all us humans, and the light inside of us are starting to remember that we are of the divine, which is the purest of pure and the goodest of good. And that operates at 5D and higher by nature. That's just what it is. So now we're taking up more space in our human, and we're causing ourselves to come out of the ego, 3D consciousness, and into our heart, 5D consciousness. So now we're starting to come at a place of community and love and abundance and health and higher vibration. And it's not saying everything's all love and light, because we are still in the human form. The human form is 3D density.
I like it almost like what's pinging as you're saying that. You could almost explain it like bringing all layers of self involved. Like when you're in the 3D consciousness, you tend to be moving from, okay, how do I make this fit with this? And very, your ego motivated. You're not bringing in a sovereign, all the layers and levels of you. But as you move into like the 5D consciousness, now you're considering the observer state, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm being shown. Mm-hmm. What are the, how do I feel about it? What do I think about it? What does my soul have to say about it? And you bring in more layers.
And acceptance, right? Like with that too, I love how you said that, because that is what it is. You're bringing in all the other layers, but you're also finding acceptance and like a kindness to yourself and to everybody else who's experiencing that 3D density, right? So our globe itself, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her, Gaia, she is also going through this ascension, which is why we have collective upheaval on things, or collective resonance on things, or, why you'll say, oh, okay, we're pulling a card for the collective message. Typically that's Gaia and all her occupants on it are feeling this vibration, because that's what she's putting out at this time, and why you'll find many, many people will be affected. So like Jennifer was talking about the solar flares and the eclipse and the full moons, and you'll find certain people are pulled by that and pushed by that and affected by that. Same thing goes for the collective and the 5D consciousness that is happening. we can't do anything to push it. And we can't do anything to stop it. It's a natural evolution. It's a natural progression that's going to happen, whether you want to be a part of it or not. It's going to happen. Some people are waking up a little bit quicker. Some people are kind of starting to have the veil lifted. Some people are still very, very much asleep. Every single stage of it is okay. But we do, again, have to remember that, like, even when we are waking up this piece of ourselves and finding what we're calling remembrance of who we are at a soul level, you're still going to pick up all the density of what your human is experiencing, because we're still in this world, a 3D consciousness, right? And so, like, with that, you're going to get the 3D shit.
Yeah. I used to have this thing that in that time of like, okay, I'm ascending, I'm doing the secret, I'm following all these gurus, and they weren't giving me the full behind the scenes, right? So I thought I was afraid during that time to acknowledge when I was having 3D-ness, or, you know, when I was feeling mad or scared or shitty in some way or another. I was like, no, I don't feel that. I feel great. This is magic.
Light all over it.
I'm gonna be magic. It doesn't matter that I'm scared of that thing. I'm gonna go over here and it's gonna be great. And I thought that was the way to do it. Like, I thought, but as we're talking about 5D consciousness, what's really beautiful about that is I get to enjoy, if I could use that word, my anger. I get to look at the things I'm afraid of. I get to, you know, see the worry and go, oh, we're worried about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. You know, instead of don't be worried. Don't be worried. You're going to manifest that. If you're worried, fuck, you're just going to make worry. Bad things are going to happen.
Isn't it?
Right. And that's not true.
Yeah, the 5D is supposed to be more of, you know, being able to acknowledge it and just like, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me.
See and observe.
Here I am. Yep, that's fine. Yep, I'm okay. Like,
and the nice thing with 5D too is that, like you're saying, Jen, I mean, you observe it and you get into that place and you see these things happen, and then you know yourself well enough because you're in tune with that 5D piece of you. You're in tune with your soul, with your essence, with your song, with your tones, with your everything. And you know what's true to you and what is external noise and bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so you're able to see it for what it is. And you stop taking it on and taking ownership of those thoughts, those feelings, those things that are being fed to you that are not the bloody truth. They're just not the truth, right?
Yeah.
We are asleep, so we believe it to be true. It's on the news, we believe it to be true. The school system's telling us it has to be true.
I have a feeling it has to be true.
It's so, there's so much more than we realize. There's like, I mean, even for us who are very, very actively curious and seeking and learning and trying to find, I mean, we are like probably a pinprick of information to what's actually available, what's truly out there, right? But I think when we get to know ourselves first, you can at least distinguish between, is this of that lower vibration, the lack, fear, you know, greed mentality, or is this true to me? Is this a belief I want to hold and buy? And then when you do get into those lower states where you're triggered by something or you've got the crap coming on, you can really look at it and go, interesting. Okay. I see it. I see you, but I'm not going to actually own you as mine. So thank you. Good day. And you just continue on. Doesn't mean you're going to have a big magic blast after that. You might just human. I mean, for me, after this weekend, like I was saying, I was in a little bit of a low last week and I was triggered and I was like, this is so interesting. And the first probably 4 days of those triggers, I had to sit in it. And I was just like, I feel like a grump. And I mean, like I was actually telling my family, listen, I don't know what's going on. I've got some energy in me. I feel very triggered by it. So I'm feeling a little bit irritable. I'm going to do my best just to kind of keep to myself. But if I seem quiet, that's fine. I'm just kind of in like observing why this is happening and how things are kind of bumping into my field and constantly checking, is this mine? Yeah, okay, this is mine. There's something for me to really look at and learn and grow from here. But I'm not going to dissect it. I'm going to let it unfold as it is. And so you go through your days and then I say, okay, now I'm breaking it. I've had 5 days of contemplation. I need to break the cycle. So I went and I got myself present in my garden, like I was saying. And then after that, I was like, you know what? We've got this amazing street with amazing neighbors. Our kids have tons of friends here. And I was like, I'm going to go get out in community now. That's what I need. And I grabbed a glass of wine and I sat down. And I mean, this first time I've had a drink in a while, because that was another belief that I was like, oh, if I have wine, I can't be magical. I can't be spiritual. I can't be this. This is lower vibration. And I was like, fuck that. Why can't I have a glass of wine? I'm sitting in communion with people right now. I'm enjoying a glass of wine. I'm being in my human right now, and I'm shutting off the spiritual part because I just went through this big triggery fucking week. I undid it with my gardening, and now I need to just be a present human. I need to watch the kids play. I need to listen to the things that people are saying, right? Like, and just take in all of that. Like, it's all important. It's all a part of our evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. We're at that we do have all these tools, and that we are like putting out this message because we're here to help. We're all here to help, and we're not going to like, you know, give away all our tools like Patricia was saying earlier, that we are these magical humans that are here, but just to share this little piece of our journey, because we are going to ring true with so many people. And which is really interesting, because as you guys were talking for this last little bit, I've been like getting so many pings into my field, because I know that this is like, when people watch this, they've already jumped into my field. Like I can already feel that this one is going to be a big one, and that they're there, and that they're watching, and they're coming, right? Like that there's so many people that are going to be following this, which is really so encouraging to feel at that level. Whereas before, I wasn't feeling those pings before. I was just like, oh, this is cool. How many people have just jumped into my field and your guys' field with, you know, knowing now that it hasn't even been published yet, right? Like wait till it's on the air. But, and then the next little thing that I wanted to mention was practice. Like, don't just think that these things are just going to happen overnight. Like, sure, I wanted to be like Ghost Whisperer. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt's pretty hot. I wanted to be just like her, but it's all about your practicing too. Like, what are you doing to like get your tools activated, and, you know, following that journey. And, you know, you could have something activate, and what we were talking about at the start, but what if you activate just a tiny little bit, and then you're like, back to being human, and then you're like, meh, no, like it's not going like I thought. No, you have to keep with it. That's what the point of this conversation is. Like, persevere, keep at it, try adding new tools, add a little bit more. Like, yeah, even just with the card reading, right? Like Patricia's doing a great, what are we at? 19 out of 100 little ways why tarot is awesome. Like,
yep.
All of those things are such magical tools. Like, keep following along, keep using your magic, and keep adding to it. Yeah, I was asked the other day, what's the next course you're going to take? And I'm like, I don't know. Any suggestions? Just because I love all this information. I want to do more, and I do find it fun. And I really do love being a student. I do.
Yeah.
So why not? One more thing to add to it, just to have a little bit more knowledge. But like, I was practicing yesterday in the car on my ride back from shopping. Shopping is a total human experience. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But in the car, we were working through some beliefs and through some emotions. And I was doing one thing, and then I said, okay, now I'm using a different modality, but I'm using my intuition and to say that what I just did 5 minutes ago, I'm not going to do now, and we're going to do something different. And the people that were with me were like, just, wow, that was awesome. And by the end of the car ride, wow, we all feel better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, mobile psychicness or whatever, maybe that's my niche. I don't know.
Psychic on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of car ride karaoke, it's like,
yeah.
I love that.
Take the psychic for a car ride.
Mobile medium.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love it.
Maybe that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just go for a little car ride. I'll take you down to the beach. We'll get you grounded. All of those tools. And like you were saying, grounded in dirt, and that was your medium. For me, it's water. It's 100% water, which is so wonderful about water is I have it in my house so I can have a shower. Like, right? It's accessible to me all the time. Whenever I need it, I can go wash my hands. I can go have a shower. I can go to the beach, go stick my feet in the lake.
Totally.
All of those magicalness.
Yeah, baths, Epsom salt baths are a good one too for transmuting negative, kind of stagnant, sticky, icky energy. Yeah, there's, there is.
And drinking water.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and there's just such, like I was saying, like we only have a little pinprick of information and tools and resources available to us because it's vast, it's abundant, there's so much out there. So you're never going to know everything. it's just, I mean, that's just the reality. Maybe one day our society will be there and we'll have all the capacities and stuff turned on, but it's just, I think it's being able to approach your life and everything that happens, like even the sticky parts, even the parts where you're like, this sucks. I don't like this right now. I don't want to get out of bed. I want to Netflix and chill. I don't like this person. This person's triggering me. I don't like this. I don't like that. It's all needing to be approached with curiosity. That's the biggest thing. Like if you're curious, whether it's growing your spiritual muscle and doing all of that, or just looking at the icky, sticky shit, just be curious about it, because you're going to constantly learn, whether you're taking a course or you're just present in your life. There's always something to learn from it, right? And some value, something to gain from it. And I mean, I think that's the nice thing with the three of us. We've all had some similar walks along our journey and very, very individual and different ones. And because we have those things, we have some tools and tips and resources and things available to help other people who resonate with our story, or even just sometimes it's resonating with energy. I don't know why, but I really like that, Jennifer. Something about her feels warm and comfortable. Good. Lean into that. There's a resonance there for a reason. She has codes and keys for you for a reason, or it could be Patricia, or it could be myself, right? So you see, there's always learning. There's always opportunities to grow. And even what I'm learning, the stickiest, densest, shittiest ones are the ones I'm growing from the most. The hardest situations are the one I'm growing from the most. Mm-hmm. You're the ones where I'm doing something, right?
Yeah. And then you're going to start to, and this is where it gets really fun, you guys. Then you're going to start to be like, ooh, I'm afraid, or ooh, this is hard. Ooh, that means there's something good on the other side. Not that I want you to subscribe to the belief of things have to be hard to be worth anything or anything of that, because I did have to get rid of the hardworking layers I had conditioned in there. But there is still, like, I can now go into that curiosity in the observer when things are scary or causing me to worry or whatever, and go, okay, I know that I can get more than that out of it. It doesn't just have to be scary. Yeah. So you get to, that is something to look forward to, is to go, okay, with that curiosity piece, I can look at what's showing up and see, how did I create that? If I don't want to continue to create that in my life, how can I look at my responsibility in it and go, oh, this is what I baked in the oven yesterday. Okay. And now I'm living that cake and I'm eating it right now, but I don't want to bake that one again because it kind of tastes like shit. So let's look at it and go, what didn't work so well in that cake? And what do I do about it? Instead of, I just used to buy it as, oh, I guess I'm just a shitty cake. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's the difference I really want people to bite into.
Yeah. Not everything has to be your reality, right? Like we can constantly pivot and we can constantly move. And I think what people are starting to understand and realize too, is that they can be the creator of their reality and the creator of their life. And they don't have to look at other people and be like, oh, look, she's done this. She's so great. I can never have that. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. Take responsibility, right? Like
taking responsibility
for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
All of it. It's okay. It's okay that you created that shit cake. Like, you're
well, you're going to create the shit cake and then you're going to find a better recipe, right? You're going to live and you're going to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's the steps to get there.
Yeah.
I've always found that if things didn't flow easily, they weren't meant to be. Like the best things that have come into my life have just been easy. Like they just fall together. Like the synchronicity definitely lines up.
Yeah.
And the synchronicity of things are definitely happening when I'm the most grounded, the most like practicing what all my crafts are, all my gifts are, is when all of those things are happening, then I'm listening to those intuitive hits. Okay, so say my day is a shopping day and I need to go and do whatever 5 things. When I actually kind of tap in and go, okay, where do I want to go first? And I wait for that little voice that says, blah, blah, blah. And I go there first. That's when I run into, a dear friend that I haven't seen in months, and we get to catch up. Mm-hmm. And then I, check in at the end of that one, get to the car. Okay, where do I need to go next? And honestly, the little voice just says like, oh, well, now you need to go here. Well, guess what? I find whatever I've been looking for on sale, like magically today is the day, right? Where I was, would have put it off or didn't really think I had enough time to go there. It's neat because it's not just one synchronicity. When you're really on track, it's a full day. Like the full day lines up. where there's so many different synchronicities where you come home and you're just like, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. And then you're like, yes, I'm totally on track with that. I'm totally aligned to all of it. And those are the ones that feel the best. And going back to my word, they feel the easiest. Like that is a big word for me. To fit into mine, it has to be easy.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to add to easy a little bit. And I'm going to say, your perspective on what is easy also changes.
Yeah.
Like for me back in the day when I was really sick and hard, any obstacle, when I was operating from depression, any obstacle that came into my way was devastating, right? It wasn't easy. It was fucking hard. And so every obstacle deterred me from what I was doing. But sometimes, like, you can't see the synchronicities and the ease that's lining up for you because you're looking at one little thing and turning it into, oh my God, this is a sign that everything is shitty for me. Right. And so, you might drive to that first spot in her scenario. And when she gets there, she might get a flat tire while she's there. But then because she got the flat tire, the friend actually pulled in the parking lot 5 minutes later. And that's how she got to bump into that friend. Yeah. But if she said, ooh, this flat tire means I need to go back to bed for the day, and she hops in the tow truck and she goes, she never met that friend. And she didn't continue on with the rest of the synchronicities. Mm-hmm. So easy is maybe a bit of a trigger word for me, just in that I want people to understand that just because it doesn't look exactly like what you would have thought easy was going to look like before, doesn't mean you need to run in the other direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jen had to run, so I guess we'll wrap it up. That was my phone.
Jen had to run, yes.
So, yeah, we've said a lot of juicy things so far. So what's our final takeaway, T?
Final takeaway is there is juicy magic in the shit. Know that it's going to ebb and flow like the waters. And don't be afraid of the low times, right? Like going through a low doesn't mean you're failing. Actually, it's quite the opposite. And then it's the way that we look at those. So as you begin to evolve and advance within yourself, getting to know yourself, love yourself, understand yourself, when those little low times come in,
they hurt less.
They are going to go by faster, and you're really going to come out of the emotional 3D piece of, oh, this sucks, I'm in anger, lack, whatever. And you're going to come into, what is this showing me? What is this teaching me? Or simply just, this is interesting, and let it move through and know that it's energy. It's going to end. And on the other side of that, usually is some type of advancement in your abilities, in your knowing your soul, in sitting in 5D consciousness a little bit longer. Right.
Yeah. And your natural state of being, for people, like, yes, there's always the ebb and the flow, and there's the ups and the downs, and you're never going to stop experiencing, harder emotions to deal with, but your down still gets better, like even though you're going, as you learn the tools and how to get in that place of play in your life, even when it looks like things are difficult, when you can get in that, hey, this is a game that I came here to play type mentality, it does get easier, and you do get to reset your default mode. At least that's what happened for me. I don't know if that's what happened for you.
100% it is. The low became the rock bottom, right? It was just like a couple steps backwards. And even at that, you know what? Sorry, just to add on to that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it a step backwards so much as just a standstill. Yeah. It's like what I was saying with the physical exercise. You work out, it hurts, you do what you need to do, and then we plateau and we sit here for a second, and then you go back up. So you're not going low. Yeah. You're just being presented opportunity to heal up some more stuff. And a lot of the times it's childhood wounding.
Yeah.
So start there.
Yeah. And when they have that thought as they're hearing this, and they're like, yeah, but my stuff is particularly hard, or because I used to say that, right? I was the special pain ridden unicorn, and it wasn't going to work for me. And it wasn't going to work for me. I think that just know that if you are in that spot, you may need that initial 1-to-1 session to get that activation or get you kind of straightened out, so you have some tools to actually be able to get to that spot where things are faceable and doable, and it's okay that they don't seem like that right now.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I see that you're back. We're actually just wrapping her up here. I thought I'd get her. You're still on mute. I thought I'd get her done before you got back. Did you have any final words of wisdom for our people?
No, I'm good. I'm just currently having a human experience. So
okay, perfect.
Going up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we love you and we'll support you through that. So those of you who are watching this, please hit the thumbs up if you are inclined at all to feel thumbs uppy after watching this video, and hit the notification bell, baby.
Ring the bell.
Because that is YouTube's way of knowing that we're actually useful and happy and people want to see us. And so they'll actually send us out to the people who need us.
Yeah.
So do the world a favor and hit that notification bell and stay tuned.
And as always, if you have a topic you would like to have covered, please send us an email at itshardtohuman@gmail.com, or you can visit us on our website page. You can find the link at the top of the screen, and It's Hard to Human on Facebook.
Yes.
Let us know what's up. We'd love to cover it, because you know what, guys? We are everyday people trying to bring the magic into our life too. And we want you to know that it's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it?
Yeah. Okay. Ciao for now, friends.